Hello everyone, welcome back to Techie Pintu channel. In today's video, I will show you how to set up Python project using UV package manager. Before this, I have created in-depth video on UV package manager. If you haven't checked it out, then have a look at it. Link is in the description and iCard button. In this video, I'm going to show you multiple ways how to set up a Python project using UV package manager. One from scratch when you are creating a fresh new project. Another one, the project which has requirement.txt, the conventional pip package manager. And third one which has a pyproject.toml file. So without further ado, let's dive in. So the first one is when we create a project from the scratch or the project is not set up yet, we are creating from zero. So we are on a VS Code. First we have to check whether we have UV or not. To check, you can say UV -- version. I have already installed, but if you have not installed it, you can just install it. Pip install UV. Now we have to create a UV project. For that we have to write UV in it. Either you can just press enter and it will create 4 files in this UV tutorial directory, but we want to create a new project. So let's say I want to give as project name my project. So when I do this, it creates one directory. So I will have to go into this directory, my project 1. Now I'm inside this one. So see, it has created Python version, main.py, pyproject.toml and readme file. Here I have to add dependencies because whenever there is a new project, we have to add dependencies. So let's add some dependencies, and while I install dependencies, it will be shown here that what dependencies I have installed. Before that, we have to create a virtual environment. So let's create a virtual environment. I can write UV-VNV. When you click on enter, it creates a .vnv file. By default, UV creates .vnv as a virtual name, a virtual environment name, but you can provide a virtual name as well, my VNV, but I'll go with the default one. It has created a virtual environment. Now I'm going to activate it. For this I have to deactivate the previous one. Source.vnv been activated. So see, by default when you activate the virtual environment, UV takes your project name or a directory name as VNV name. So in terminal only, actually it's a .vnv. Now to install the requirement libraries into the VNV, you have to type UV add and dependency name. So let's install pandas. So you do it and it installs here. See, so it's really easy. Now you want to add another one, numpy. So see, it is installed here and it also creates a log file. So log file is updated when you install any dependency or when you remove any dependency. Let's remove some dependency, pandas. So these are the steps to create from scratch. To run it, you just type uv run python main.py and it will run hello from my project 1. Now we will see how to make a project UV enabled project if it already has requirement.txt, because previously developers were using pip package manager, so they mostly create requirement.txt. So let's go to the GitHub and clone any repository. So for this demo purpose, I have created a temporary GitHub repository where I have initialized few things. So this is my GitHub repository. I'm gonna delete it after this video. So I just copy link and I just clone it here, git clone, and that's it. It's been cloned. So let's go to the directory. So my GitHub repo name is demo project, as you can see. So I'm into the project and let's open the VS Code into the GitHub repo. Code. This is a different VS Code and this is a different one. So as you can see, this is a freshly cloned repo. Now in this repo, you can see the requirement.txt, but here we do not have .toml file because previously developers were using pip package manager. We used to create requirements.txt, but in UV you need .toml file. So for that purpose, we have to initialize UV here so that UV can recognize, oh, this is a UV directory, but there is no pyproject.toml file. We have to create .toml file. For that, first we have to create a virtual environment because we already have a project structure. We have cloned a repo, so we cannot change the structure, but we can create a virtual environment. First I will have to check the Python version. Python version is 3.11. see, but my Python version is currently 3. Okay, so it is a 3.11. If it is not 3.11, then you have to write something like this, 3.11. So it will create a virtual environment with Python 3.11, but since I already have it, it doesn't matter, but let's create it anyway. So when I click on it, see, it created Python virtual environment using 3.11. Let's activate it. Activate. Now we have to install libraries into this VNV. So what we can do, uv add -r requirement.txt, just like we were doing before. Pip install -r requirement.txt. But since we are using UV, we have to write this command. But see, this is the problem because this does not recognize as a UV directory because UV needs .pyproject.toml file. So first of all, we have to create this directory as a UV directory. So for that we have to create pyproject.toml file. So but do not try to create by on your own. You just write UV in it, and it automatically creates one remaining file, which is pyproject.toml. So you have to initialize first so that a pyproject.toml file will be created. Why I'm saying you have to initialize? Because if you do not initialize, you will mess up this structure. UV needs .toml file. Okay, so since we have the .toml file, now we can run this command uv add -r requirement.txt, and all the dependencies from this requirement.txt will be added into .toml file. So we have pandas, numpy, fast API, and langchain community. Let's see what it does. And see, all of them are being installed, and it's so like blazing fast, and all are and all are installed in an instant. And you can see the log file has been also created. So this is how you can install. And how do you run this project? So uv run main.py. Hello. Okay, and if you run it, it will work. Third way is when you have pyproject.toml and uv.log file, or basically .toml file, but you don't have requirement.txt and you cannot create project from fresh. So what happens in this kind of project is basically you don't have requirement.txt, you have lot of dependencies into toml file, but you cannot just type them manually and add one by one. So what is the command to install all of them into a virtual environment? Since it already has a .toml file, so UV will recognize it as a UV enabled directory. So what you can do is you can just type UV sync. What it will do is basically take all these dependencies, create a virtual environment, and install all these dependency into a virtual environment, all in this one command. So you don't have to create a virtual environment, you don't have to take one by one and install it. UV does it for us. So let's check it out. UV sync. First it creates an environment and then installs all of them, and a respective log file will be created. If it is not there, if it is there, then you have to run UV lock. Why? Because UV lock was there and you install these dependencies right now. So it is safe to do this UV lock, so it will resolve all the issues if there is any. You should run these two commands, UV sync and UV lock, and that's how you can make your any existing project into a UV enabled project. I hope this video will help you in your Python journey. If you find it helpful, please like, share and subscribe, and you can put down your suggestions or any questions into the comment box and I'll try to reply them. Thank you very much. Till then, bye bye.